In 1995, No Limit became a national indie record label by negotiating an 18-15 deal with Priority Records. An indie label is an independent record company that operates without the funding of a major record source. A great amount of hip-hop music was being distributed by indie labels such as Jive, Virgin Records, Capitol, Tommy Boy, and the list goes on. These companies and many more were all being distributed by the parent company, the Big Four, which is EMI, Universal, Warner, and Sony Music Group. Deals of this magnitude was never negotiable for artists. The majority of artists wasn't trying to start labels. They was either traveling to New York or California to sign with a major. Independency wasn't a thought, with the exception of a few West Coast and Southern rappers who made their own way. Master P was a rapper and a CEO at the same time. He learned his independence as far as music from the Bay. Before negotiating his major deal, he was dealing with local distributors such as Independent and Solar when he was based on the West Coast. But he wanted to go to the next level. So he and No Limit Records manager Tobin Costin began shopping for a deal to go national. They had several offers from a couple of labels. Some of these offers were slave deals. They will turn down these offers. One day, they talked to an attorney by the name of Leroy Bobbitt. He would explain to P and Tobin about the different types of record deals, such as a artist deal, a production deal, a publishing deal, and a P&D deal. So they would go to Priority Records shopping for a deal. Priority made them an offer of 20%, which was a artist arrangement. He was going to sign, but he would ask about that P&D situation. Priority said, we'll give you the P&D deal, but you would have to do all the marketing and promotion yourself. They was trying to talk P and Tobin out of the P&D setup. They both told Priority that they already market and promote their own projects independently. So you're not telling us nothing new. At this time, No Limit had The Ghettos Trying to Kill Me and the West Coast Bad Boys Volume 1 on Billboard charts. So the contract was put together, they read it, then they signed the contract, which was the 85-15 structure with ownership of their masters. A deal of this magnitude was never heard of for someone who was independent. The first project was the repressed version of the 99 Ways to Die album, which was a dedication to Master P brother Kevin Miller and the one and only Eazy-E. The following projects was the TRU True album that contained the hit song Bout It. After these projects, they wanted to release the Down South Hustler album. This project would be a Southern rap compilation, which turned out to be a double album. P would draft big name artists such as MJG and 8Ball, UGK, and a host of other Southern rappers. Plus, he would add two Midwest rap groups, CCG from Kansas City, Missouri, and the Dayton Family from Flint, Michigan. The problem with this album being completed was that they needed money. Priority wanted this project badly. No Limit already had money coming in, but a compilation on that level needed a lot of money to bring all the acts together on one accord. No Limit already had pre-orders. Priority would ask, what would it take to complete this album? P and Tobin replied, $250,000. So Priority said, if we grant that amount, we want to change the partnership percentage, and we only asked for 5%. They agreed, and it changed from an 18-15 split to an 80-20 agreement. From that point on, the rest was history. The project was complete and wound up number 13 on the Billboard charts. Priority helped No Limit with national exposure, reaching more fans. The next year, in 1996, No Limit would drop 4 albums: Master P's Ice Cream Man, Silk the Shocker's Shocker album, Skullduggery's Hoodlum for Life, and Cain and Abel's The 7 Sins. Then 1997 would be the year when No Limit would take the world by storm. Master P would release a movie and a soundtrack titled I'm Bout It. This project would get the attention from everyone from the West, the South, North, East, and the world. He brought knowledge and a flamboyancy to the game that wasn't being promoted nationally or globally. He made it cool to be country, so to say. He will talk about investing in yourself, and if you was out there hustling to turn your dirty money to clean money, and being independent by investing into yourself. He championed the whole idea of being independency. Artist was quick to run to major labels for a deal, but P made it cool to create your own movement, being the CEO, having a team with an image, and being a rapper on the label. He was setting trends and all, so artists wanted to follow suit and emulate the blueprint P was laying out and constantly formulating. He made the movie straight to video approach a reality and would cross promote the artist and future projects in the inner sleeve of album covers before they was released. He had a non-stop album release strategy that saturated the market. Artists from other labels were asked for a different album date release if their projects were scheduled around the same time of No Limit album release. So P took power from the major labels' hands. He shifted the paradigm from the standard artist agreement to artists starting their own labels. But the majors started changing up the game quickly because of P, and will only negotiate partnerships, given joint ventures, which are 50-50 agreements. Artists wasn't settling for the slave deals no more, so the labels had to pay out. Remember what Snoop said?
If it wasn't for No Limit, there wouldn't be no money in rap.
There was money in rap, but not for the artists. The labels had loopholes that gave artists advances, then turned around and took it back. The newer artists started peeping and soaking up game from P and started demanding good deals and asked for that back end money. This is where the whole idea of No Limit opening up the doors for the South comes from. He actually opened up the doors for all regions, opening up the floodgates of independency. You had your Luke Records, your Suave Houses, and your Rapper Lots, but they didn't set the trend like No Limit did on a mass scale on Doof itself. Because of this, the majors despised P. Priority didn't want to give P that deal. They thought he was going to go back to the hood and get caught up and cash out on his mishap. Little did they know is that Master P had a plan. Prior to this, the media instigated the East and West Coast feud. In between the rival, Tupac and Biggie were both murdered. So the industry was wide open. The fans was looking for the next big thing, and No Limit filled the void. All eyes was on P and No Limit. He knew those people started watching him due to No Limit's success. He even made a song called Somebody's Watching Me, which is a remake of Rockwell's Somebody's Watching Me. He learned and figured out the system and took it to the next level. At this time, his new headquarters will be the capital of Louisiana, Baton Rouge. He wanted to be close to his hometown of New Orleans. He would get houses and condos for his artists. He would give them strict orders of staying away from the streets, the clubs, and certain people. He would say, if you want to party, do so at home. We're not going to let no one infiltrate this No Limit family. He was banking on turning No Limit to a hip-hop Motown. He had plans of building a futuristic state-of-the-art studio, but his presence wasn't welcome, especially in the country club. The business elite of Baton Rouge felt a certain way due to the type of business he was in, which was rap. Plus him being a young black man with the biggest house on the property, they saw that as a slap in the face. He lived next door to the governor of Baton Rouge. They will put demands on P through his lawyer, Edward Hawkins. They will ask P to put a gate around his mansion. They wanted Silk to tear down his basketball court. They didn't like the heavy traffic at the country club from No Limit. The pettiness became a problem. The local police would constantly harass No Limit artists and employees. They would go as far as trying to pull a prank on P, telling him that there was a big dispute in front of Snoop Dogg's house, with Snoop at the hands of Death Row associates. Then they would call P and tell him it was an April Fool's joke. They was really trying to get under P's skin. The feds was already watching P once he signed that P&D contract. So now No Limit was on scope. But that won't stop No Limit from success. In 1998, No Limit would drop 23 albums. Master P shocked the industry by signing Snoop Dogg to the family. That move, plus with a roster of talent such as Fiend, Mia X, Silk, C, and Mystical, made No Limit unstoppable. P netted $56 million, while the company made $400 million. Plus, P made number 20 on the Forbes list. He will diversify his earnings from music and will invest in industries such as movies clothing, telecommunications, sports, stocks, gas stations, toys, and the list goes on. No Limit was everywhere. Master P signed a contract to play basketball with the Charlotte Hornets and later the Toronto Raptors. Then, 1999 will be the turning point. No Limit artist Cain and Abel was named in a federal indictment that accused them of being part of a cocaine distributing ring ran by a notorious New Orleans drug kingpin, Richard Pina. Cain and Abel, whose real names are David and Daniel Garcia, was charged with conspiracy to distribute narcotics. The two knew Pina, who ran Chester Records, through the music business, but they didn't know he was involved with drugs. They met Pina previously at a music convention in New Orleans. The brothers, who are identical twins, was doing well under No Limit. The DEA been pursuing Pina's organization for some time. His organization was responsible for bringing in narcotics big time into the city of New Orleans. Since Cain and Abel were associated with Pina through music, they was targeted. They was threatening to try to set Master P up, but they didn't roll like that. They were found guilty for association and sentenced to 3 years at a boot camp prison. P had to drop them from his label to avoid having No Limit Records shut down. Master P said himself, they were trying to connect me to Pina, he said, because of my cousin Randall Watts. Randall Watts, aka Cali or Slim, was an associate of Pina. P said, that didn't have nothing to do with me. I just put the twins talking about Cain and Abel on my record label. So now I'm being harassed. Things got so bad that P had to go into the feds with Johnny Cochran to get those people off his back. They was following him everywhere he went. He went as far as saying to them, if you have anything on me, take me in. If you don't have nothing, stop bothering me. This meeting will help cool things down for a while. Between the feds and the elite of Baton Rouge, a plan was put together on trying to disable No Limit Records. Within that same year, No Limit producers, Beats by the Pound, will leave No Limit over a contractual dispute. A couple of months later, in the earlier part of the 2000s, McKinley McPhipps was arrested in San Luis Parish for the Club Mercedes incident. He was falsely accused and charged with murder. It was obvious No Limit was being targeted because of their success. Plus, they've been trying to connect No Limit to drugs because of this type of music. They coined gangsta rap. Then on August 15th, 2001, Corey Miller had a situation with the club owner of Club Rags in Baton Rouge, where he refused to be searched and he allegedly tried shooting the club owner. He left and later turned himself in. He was released on bond. Then on January 12th, 2002, Corey Miller was arrested for the death of Steve Thomas. Steve Thomas was a big No Limit fan. He used to have the label artist posters all over his bedroom walls. He also emulated P and C by putting foil in his mouth to have the gold teeth image. There was a talent show being promoted in Harvey, Louisiana. Corey will be a special guest at the venue. When Steve Thomas found out C was going to be at the Platinum Club, where the showcase would be held, he made plans to be in attendance. He was underage to get into the club, so he would use a friend's ID to gain entry. He participated in the talent show. After his performance, Steve stepped off stage to greet C, but a group of men will attack him near Corey. The club bouncer, Darnell Jordan, intervened to break up the fight. He pulled C from the altercation. Next thing you know, you heard a shot. Everyone scattered. Steve had a single gunshot wound to his chest. Police started questioning people. Plus, Darnell Jordan was brought in for questioning. They showed him 6 pictures and asked, "Who do you know in these photos?" He pointed at C. They made him sign the back of the picture. 6 days after the shooting, Corey was arrested. Then September of 2002, after 15 days of testimony, the jury came back with a guilty verdict for C. He was sentenced to life. If you're convicted of murder in the state of Louisiana, that's an automatic life without parole. There was a lot of misinformation around C's case. Private investigator Jennifer Wintry started working with Corey Miller's lawyers. She investigated the facts and talked to hundreds of witnesses. There's nothing that suggests he committed the homicide that night, she said. There's no forensic evidence that tied Corey to that incident. In the process of their investigation, Corey Miller's legal team discovered prosecutors was improperly withholding criminal background information of witnesses, so the judge granted Corey a new trial in 2006. After 3 years in jail, Corey was remanded to house arrest until a new court date. In August of 2009, his new trial will begin. Darnell Jordan was present at the court. He was one of the key witnesses when asked, "Who killed Steve Thomas?" Darnell Jordan replied, "Corey Miller." Later, Darnell said he was threatened and pressured into saying it was C. He recanted his testimony. He will then say he never saw a gun in Corey's hand when he pulled him away from the fight. He stated the prosecutors tricked him. Corey is a high-profile case, he said, so Jefferson Parish took it and ran with it. The prosecutors kept calling Corey Miller T Murder and kept pushing his lyrics on him. What's ironic about this situation is that P started saying he told C that the name he chose would get him in trouble. But you never heard P complaining when albums was being sold under Corey's rap name.
What you name yourself, you know, the people you hang with, all that type of stuff. That stuff come back to you. This real life.
We know C's from the Cali, yo. He used his talent, his gifts, and his lyrics to make it out. But it's ironic how they used his lyrics against him to put him behind bars. Way before this whole situation, P talked to his artists about the do's and don'ts of being in the streets. He knew between the haters and the hood and the system that they wanted to catch any one of them slipping. P and C would clash with each other. They would get into it about the company that he kept and the places he would visit. C was his own man. He felt no one could tell him what to do. He felt comfortable being in the Cali, yo. His brother understood when you get to a certain position or level in life that you had to change up and be on guard at all times. On August 11th, 2009, the jury found Corey guilty of second-degree murder. Despite C's criminal rap sheet, his family believed he's innocent. He was sentenced to life on a 10-20 verdict. Corey's sister, Germany Miller, expressed her feelings after the verdict. She was very displeased. She said, "I felt bad for the Thomases for what happened to Steve." She said, "I lost a brother too, and now I'm losing another one."
I lost a brother also, and now you're gonna make me lose my other brother, an innocent black man.
The brother she was referring to was her brother Kevin Miller, who was murdered in 1999 in New Orleans by his own friend. Corey idolized his brother Kevin Miller. His brother's death affected him so much. Miller went AWOL from the military. C and his two brothers, Master P and Silk, would get tattoos of their brother and carried on his legacy and their music. The Millers would continue fighting on behalf of getting C free. It was said that T suggested to Master P to go about helping him on his case a certain way, but P wanted to go about it in his own manner. This resulted in C recording and releasing 2 diss tracks in 2014 directed at Master P titled Came to the Can, featuring Uzi and All I Wanted to Be Was a Soldier. C expressed his feelings about his brother. C felt betrayed by P. You heard all the rumors that P wasn't really helping C. Some were saying when he did come out to help, he was doing so for selfish gain. But in 2016, P asked President Barack Obama to pardon Corey. He heard Obama was pardoning people. P explained to President Barack Obama exactly why McKinley Mac Phipps and Corey Miller deserved to be pardoned from Louisiana's unforgiving prison system. But Obama denied P's request. Within that same year, a song came to the surface by C titled Dear Supreme Court. In that song, Miller professes his innocence and asks the state highest court to release him, saying that his trial was rigged and that the jury was paid off. The State Department of Corrections spokeswoman Pamela Barty said officials began looking into how Miller managed to record material from behind bars. Labarty said Miller insisted that any material released by his record company was recorded before he was incarcerated. In July 2018, Master P hosts a Free C Murder rally. Corey Miller legal team filed for a motion demanding for a new trial, looking for that sentence to be reversed. But in January 2019, a judge ruled a new trial cannot be granted. As of recently, Kim Kardashian West is advocating for the release of Corey, who she said was wrongfully convicted of murder and sentenced to life in prison. Kim Kardashian West mentioned, since his trial, witnesses have recanted. New evidence of his potential innocence has come to light, and there are claims of jurors being pressured into voting to convict him. Plus, she added, true justice for the young man, referring to Steve Thomas, requires that the person who actually killed him be held responsible and that Corey Miller be returned home to his kids. She will be working with R&B singer Monica, who was dating Miller at the time of his arrest, as well with Jessica Jackson and Aaron Haney of the Reform Alliance, an organization that aims to dramatically reduce the number of people who are unjustly under the control of the criminal justice system. My heart goes out to the family of Steve Thomas, Kardashian West wrote. I can only imagine how hard this is, and my intention is to never open up this painful wound, but to help find the truth behind the tragedy. Why was Corey targeted and framed? The truth of the matter is that the system really wanted P. Since they couldn't get P directly, they would get him indirectly by falsely accusing his brother of a crime he didn't commit. They never talked about the good deeds Corey did and the fact that he served his country by being in the military. R.I.P. to Steve Thomas, free McKinley Mac Phipps, and free Corey Miller.